we begin with breaking news right now in Raleigh. An active shooting situation. It's in Hedingham near Osprey Cove Drive and Bay Harbor Drive. We see the Raleigh police right here. We just saw highway patrol officers also joining this investigation.
Yeah, residents in this area are being told to shelter in place. Let's go to Mark Boyle in the WRAL Live Center with what else we know about this incident. Mark.
Well, Gerald, this certainly is an active situation that's unfolding right now. Eric Miller providing these ground pictures for us. Show you again. They have four-wheelers, they have ambulances, fire trucks as police continue to pour into this area. This picture where Eric is off of Eagle Trace Drive. This is not where the shooting happened. I'm going to change this monitor here, let Eric step back up. I want to bring this to your attention too. This is the press release we have from police. Residents in that area advised to remain in their home. That area is the Neuse River Greenway near Osprey Cove Drive and Bay Harbor Drive. This is the neighborhood. On the map, you can see there are hundreds of homes in that area. This is the Neuse River Trail, the Greenway. It runs right along that neighborhood. We have been hearing that this is an active shooting situation. Police have confirmed that. The number of people shot is not confirmed. Show you Sky 5 video right now on your screen. We can show you what it looks like. Sky 5's refueling right now. They should be back live in just a couple of minutes. But when we first arrived on scene, we saw officers with long guns out there coming in with police tape to secure the area. We don't know if the shooting happened in a home or perhaps along the Greenway or that wooded area behind the home. Eric Miller is live outside one of the neighborhoods. Eric, what are you seeing behind you? Really active this time of night. You add this to it, it's busy time out there.
Well, Mark, this has been an unbelievably active scene, and I want to step out of the way so y'all can appreciate just what's going on here. We've seen a number of agencies, state police, Raleigh police, state highway patrol, all of them flying into this neighborhood. This is Eagle Trace Drive and the intersection of Southall Road. You can see we've got a member of the sheriff's office out here directing traffic. These deputies having to deal with an unbelievably chaotic scene as we have seen ambulances, fire trucks, other fire vehicles, as well as police officers flying in and out of this neighborhood, often at high speed. You can see there another I believe that's going to be a sheriff's deputy there as well, though it's difficult to read that vest. That gentleman directing traffic away. Neighbors are not being allowed into their community at this time. These folks being turned away. And right now, as we pan this camera off here to the left, you can see the line of cars as folks wait not only to get into their neighborhood, but also wait for answers, more details on what exactly has happened just right down the street from their homes. Again, so many unanswered questions. We're staying on top of this story. We'll bring you answers as we get them. Back to you.
And Eric, we'll be checking back with you as soon as you have an update for us. Eric Miller there in the Hedingham neighborhood in Raleigh, where there is an active shooting scene. We'll stay on top of it here on WRAL. And now this is a horrible story. 4 children were left alone in a home in Wake County. A 5-year-old girl wound up being beaten to death. Now authorities have made 2 arrests in the case.
The owner of the home, Sherletta Moore, appeared in court this afternoon through a video conference. She is charged with felony negligent child abuse and some misdemeanor charges as well. Her brother, Anthony Moses, faces misdemeanor charges for failure to report crimes against a juvenile. The counts all surround the death of 5-year-old Tamani Oden and the 3 other children who were left in the Raleigh home in July of 2022.
WRAL Investigates Cullen Browder joins us now in the studio with why this horrific case hasn't been reported until now. Cullen?
Well, Gerald and Deborah, because this appears to be a juvenile on juvenile crime, so it remained a secret in the justice system for months. Before those arrests, we spent weeks going through public records and family interviews to piece together this tragedy.
Tamani was a princess in all aspects. Beautiful, funny.
On this front porch, there is pain and anger over the brutal death of 5-year-old Tamani Oden.
I want justice for Tamani. I want to know why would they do this to my grandbaby. She was a sweet child and enjoyed life, and she would never do anything to hurt anybody.
These are Tamani's relatives on her father's side who live here in Beaufort, where the ribbon marking the girl's freshly dug grave hasn't yet been replaced by a stone. At the time of Tamani's death, her mother, Kayakani Oliver, sat in jail on dozens of drug and felony weapons charges. Oliver's mother, who controlled custody, took Tamani and her 2-year-old half-sister, Kalia, to this home on Agawam Court in Raleigh. It's owned by Sharletta Moore, Kalia's paternal grandmother. So you left, your sister went to work, so they were alone?
They were alone for about an hour.
Anthony Moses admits his sister Sharletta left the girls alone on the night of July 11th, along with 2 other children, the oldest, a 10-year-old boy. Why were the children left alone?
Because she works.
Moses says Moore works 3 jobs to help support her family. Yet within an hour, emergency crews arrived to find Taimani with critical head injuries.
Why would you leave a 10-year-old and little kids in the house with a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old? It should be an adult in the house. You don't leave no kids in the house by themselves.
Taimani's Beaufort family rushed to UNC Hospital in Chapel Hill to find her barely alive.
I would look at my 5-year-old cousin who I seen a week prior to celebrate birthdays. She looked like an alien.
According to the autopsy investigative report obtained by WRAL Investigates, the child was apparently assaulted by the 10-year-old boy, leaving her badly bruised with serious head trauma and a lacerated liver.
They told her she was beat with a belt, and they told her she was beat with a broom.
She was beaten to death like a hate crime.
Clearly, people have work responsibilities, but to leave the children alone like that.
They were true, but they were asleep.
Moses says his family saw no signs the boy could carry out such an act, but believes he may have been jealous of Taimani's birthday attention and sought revenge after she told on him earlier for something he did. The killing only deepens the rift between families of Taimani's mother and her father, Taekwon.
That's why I take a 3-hour drive to them people that she not kin to. If she would have been with us, it never would have happened.
They also blame social services for allowing Taimani to be put in a dangerous situation. Do you feel like the system failed Taimani?
Yes.
There's a lot of pressure.
As both sides wait for answers, Taimani's father's family wants adults to pay.
If a 10-year-old beat this child to death, then an adult needs to be held responsible for that 10-year-old's action.
So Taimani's family on the father's side tell me they are somewhat relieved that 2 people are now charged. Now, in our conversation weeks before his arrest, Anthony Moses said he didn't feel responsibility for what happened. Sharletta Moore, by the way, remains in jail on $35,000 bond. Gerald.
Cullen, there are no words. This story just breaks your heart.
Indeed.
Thank you. Police have arrested a man they say robbed 2 Raleigh banks and tried to rob another within a 10-day span. Spencer Bucha was taken into custody today. He is charged with 2 counts of common law robbery, 2 counts of attempted common law robbery. Police identified him as a suspect in Wednesday's robbery, as well as the robbery of the bank on Hillsborough Street. That one was a Wells Fargo bank. That was on October 3rd. He's also attempted robbery at the New Bern Avenue Wells Fargo Bank on Wednesday, October 11th.
WRAL has learned nearly an hour passed before police were alerted to a gunshot fired at a Cary High School. Parents rushed to the school to try to pick up their children just as soon as it happened. Police say the shot went off in an isolated area of the school, and officers found out what happened when someone called it in. After that, Cary Police Chief Terry Salt says they were quickly able to determine there was no immediate threat to students at Cary High School.
I am concerned that A, gun was on school grounds, B, that it did accidentally discharge, and what would have happened had it been a change of classes or something like that when it occurred. So we were very fortunate in this set of circumstances.
2 people have been served with juvenile petitions connected to this incident. We continue to follow the breaking news happening in Hedingham, the east part of Raleigh. We now understand 4 people are at the hospital. Let's go to Mark Boyle with the latest on this.
Sourcing right now. Can you hear me?
All
okay?
right, let me talk over these live pictures as Mark is gathering information. We have been telling you about an active shooting situation on the Greenway or in the area of Osprey Cove Drive. Let's now go to Mark Boyle in the Live Center. Mark?
I'm Mark Boyle in the WRAL Live Center. I just got off the phone with one of my sources at the city of Raleigh, and we can confirm from that source, we're being told that an off-duty officer was shot and killed in this neighborhood in East Raleigh. So that kind of explains here why things are elevated and why they are out in that area, in addition to the fact that this is an active shooting investigation. It doesn't appear as if they have anyone in custody. This area in blue highlighted residents in the area of Neuse River Greenway asked to remain in their home. So again, that confirmation coming from a high-level city official just a moment ago on the phone, an off-duty officer shot and killed in the line of duty. We'll work to confirm these details. Sky 5 working to get over the scene and multiple crews on the ground as more information comes into the WRAL newsroom.
So a deadly shooting there in the Hedingham neighborhood. This is in East Raleigh. A big police presence there. You can see cars being turned around and away from this area. We have a crew on the ground. We also will have Sky 5 back in the air and continue to cover this story as the incidents warrants.
Now we're going to go to Eric Miller, who's live on the scene there in Hedingham. Eric, what are you seeing in just the last few minutes since we last talked to you?
Well, Deborah, again, it's been a lot of the same. You know, we see a lot of big scenes as we're covering shootings and other incidents in the city of Raleigh, but I haven't seen anything like this, certainly not in the last year. Just the size of this police presence and the number of agencies involved. Yes, where we are is on the east side of Raleigh. It is close to where their jurisdiction ends and Wake County's is going to begin, but you have really anybody and everybody coming in here to lend a hand. You can see here multiple City of Raleigh officers in the middle of this intersection, Eagle Trace Drive and Southall Road, directing traffic. Neighbors still not being allowed into their neighborhood, even though where we are right now, more than a mile from the main scene, more than a mile from where this shooting happened. That gives you an idea how far back police are pushing people, trying to keep civilians away from this area as they continue to investigate. As we pan over here, you can see Raleigh fire units here as well, including an all-terrain vehicle that's on the back of a trailer there. We've seen a Raleigh police all-terrain vehicle deployed here as well. Yet another thing that's been really noteworthy here has been the speed that we've seen officers moving around here. We've got one Raleigh police vehicle moving through here right now. That's actually a little bit slow compared to how fast we've seen some of these cruisers coming through here. But you hear that engine rev, you can see the urgency, hear the urgency with which these officers are doing their job here this afternoon. Again, this is the Hedingham neighborhood. If you are coming this way, if you are coming home, just look at this. Look at this. More Raleigh police vehicles pouring into this neighborhood, pouring into this community. I don't have an exact count, but just in the 20 or 30 minutes or so that we've been here, it has to be in the dozens of Raleigh police vehicles that we've seen fly into the Hedingham neighborhood. See, there goes another unmarked car there behind me. So an incredibly chaotic scene, an incredibly busy scene that we are staying on top of out here. We'll have more as this situation develops. Deborah?
Eric Miller reporting live there in the Hedingham neighborhood. Thanks so much, Eric.
This is an incident unlike we have seen in some time. Let's go to Mark Boyle in the Live Center with an update on those who have been injured. Mark?
Well, we have crews over at Wake Med, Gerald, and we continue to get new information in on the number of people hurt in this case. Wake Med now confirming 4 patients there in the trauma center as this investigation continues here this evening. We'll bring these live pictures from Eric back up as crews are out there patrolling that neighborhood, searching for the person responsible out by the Neuse River Greenway. So you have 4 people shot, and according to our sources, an officer was shot and killed out there. The circumstances unclear. We continue to follow this breaking story for you here this evening.
All right, an officer shot to death. 3 people were told in the trauma center right now at Wake Med. Massive scene in the Hedingham area of East Raleigh. And again, dozens of police cars as you look at this video from Sky 5. This is a live look, rather. Officers combing the grounds there of that wooded area right behind that row of homes. We have crews on the ground, and we have, of course, Sky 5 in the air, trying to get you all the information about this situation as quickly as we can. This
all happened about an hour ago when we first received the call that police were heading to this area of Osprey Cove Drive. The Neuse River Greenway Trail is right behind this row of houses. And so that's where we learned that police were focusing their attention. They say that there was an active shooting situation that they were investigating. You can see now that Sky 5 has been over this area for quite some time. They are refueling right now to get us back to live pictures as soon as we can. But you can see such a huge police presence. We did see some ambulances also go away from the scene as well. As we are looking back live here at Eric Miller's vantage point. Mark, let's go back to you in the live center.
I want to make sure folks who are just joining us, possibly getting home from work, wondering what's going on. We had the new information. We have multiple sources into the WRAL newsroom now confirming the word is multiple people dead. So we do know 4 patients in the trauma center at Wake Med. So you have 4 victims there, and then you have multiple people dead. And we are hearing from sources that one of those dead is an officer. We don't know if that is a Raleigh police officer or what, but that is something that we're working to confirm for you as this story continues to develop there at the Neuse River Greenway near Osprey Cove Drive and Bay Harbor Drive. Phil, come over here. I want to show folks at home this map, and it's important to draw your attention to where this is all unfolding. The Greenway is right here, so it runs just on the outside of all of these homes, and this is a huge neighborhood with hundreds of homes, and it's flooded right now with police, clearly, as they search for the person responsible. This is an active shooting situation. All of this is blocked off. We've seen from the live pictures on the ground here, many ambulances coming and going, police coming and going. Sky 5, we're being told, Kara, it's about 8 minutes away, is that right? All right. I think it's 8 or 9 minutes away from having Sky 5 there above. And that will give us a better vantage point from above to look down. And we'll continue to go to our crews there on the ground as we now can confirm from multiple sources, multiple people dead, an officer is dead, and 4 people with trauma injuries at Wake Med here this evening.
Mark, thank you. And as you're looking live there at that scene, WRAL's Eric Miller there on the ground in the breaking news tracker. Very few cars that are not without police markings are making it through that intersection. This camera is a mile away from the scene. That tells you how far police have pushed back not only the media, but everyone else that can get out of this area.
Eric, can you hear us to be able to talk to us right now?
Yeah, Deborah, I can hear you right now.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, have you been able to talk to any neighbors in this area and find out, how they're feeling about what's happening here and perhaps knowing a little bit more about what they're seeing when they are in their neighborhood?
Well, Deborah, there's a lot of real concern and confusion among folks, as I think you would imagine. This is really just a big neighborhood that's off here to the left. Everything that is in between that mile from where I'm standing right now and the scene itself, very much your typical eastern Raleigh, sort of Wake County, single-family homes, one after the next, after the next, after the next. A lot of people live out here, and a lot of people are coming home. This is the end of the workday, and seeing all of these flashing lights, seeing all of these officers, and are deeply concerned about what has happened in their neighborhood. There was a woman who just pulled up here. You can see there's a Raleigh police officer there who's directing traffic. There was a woman who just pulled up, and I could hear her saying, I just went out to the vet. I just, popped out a few minutes ago. What's going on? So, that really gives you an idea of how fast this scene has grown, has developed and changed, and how active things really still are as police continue to pull in here a half an hour after we arrived. Again, we were talking a few minutes ago, we talked about the fact that we have seen at this point dozens of police cars pulling into this neighborhood. And it's just an overwhelming scene, and for the folks in the community, this is, it's not what you want to come home to on a Thursday evening.
Eric, I know you're standing a few feet away. Were you able to, and you were talking to us at the same time, perhaps you didn't hear what that officer told that driver, but you've heard perhaps or seen other drivers stopping and asking the same question, what's going on? Have you been able to hear any of that?
I've been able to hear a little bit of that, Gerald. Right now, these officers, they're not giving specifics. They're not able to give specifics. Really, their only job in this moment is to redirect traffic. You see this right here. You see that Raleigh police officer shaking her head and then motioning down the road here, motioning down South Hall Drive, just telling person after person after person, hey, you can't go home right now. Hey, there's a situation that's happening right now. You got to keep driving. You know, the situations like this, oftentimes it's more about just doing what you have to do to keep the scene clear, to let first responders get in and do their job, and that's what these police officers are doing here on the scene at the moment.
You know, Eric, like you said, a lot of people just coming home and they're wondering what's going on. Can you remind us about the streets involved exactly where you are? Because we know you are very far away from where the actual shooting happened.
Yeah, absolutely, Deborah. I'm going to pull out here wide real fast. You can see right there that sign, Eagle Trace Drive and South Hall Road, the entrance to the Hedingham neighborhood. You see that now blocked with a Raleigh police cruiser. We're about 1.3 miles, that's where my GPS put it, 1.3 miles from the scene itself. That scene off to our east here that you can see officers speeding towards here still this evening. There's a fire station that's right across the street here. You can see where that engine is parked, where multiple other Raleigh police vehicles are parked, where an ambulance, you can see that the front end of a Wake County EMS ambulance parked there as well. So again, as we were saying just a moment ago, that really gives you an idea of the seriousness of this situation, of how important this is for first responders, that they are pushing people this far back. There are so many homes in this neighborhood. This is a much bigger cordon than we would see in almost any other situation.
And this has to be a shock to everyone driving through that area who doesn't know what's going on, even if they do. Eric, you've been there for about a half an hour. Is this the vantage point you've had since you arrived, or have they pushed you back even farther from where you were initially?
Gerald, this is where we have started, and this is where we have stayed. You know, we didn't get here that long after that shooting call went out, really only about half an hour, and still already they had this cordon in place. Already they were redirecting drivers, redirecting people trying to go home here this evening. So I mean, this popped up incredibly quickly, and it has remained a impenetrable barrier for people trying to get home at this point. You know, folks haven't been given a time. They haven't been given any specifics right now of when they're going to be able to go back in this neighborhood. It has just been that, no, you can't go in right now. You see, people can leave. You see those two vehicles right there. People are able to leave Hedingham. They are able to leave Eagle Trace Drive, but they are not able to go back in once they have left.
Eric Miller live on this scene. Now let's take you live to WRAL Sky 5, back live over the scene. You can see the crime scene tape is now up on Osprey Cove Drive. This is not very far away from the Neuse River Greenway. And boy, for those of us who use the Greenway, this is a very popular place to go, to bike ride, to walk, to run, all times of day. There are so many people that are out there, and always you know, enjoying the fresh air that we've had today. Beautiful day. So we are trying to learn more now about what we are hearing. Multiple people shot and killed near the Greenway. It was an active shooting situation. We understand that the suspect has not yet been caught, but we do know that there is a Raleigh police officer among those who were shot and killed. And we also have multiple people who are at Wake Med who are seriously injured.
And as we look at this live shot, you can see the officer standing around, not necessarily at the ready, so to speak, for lack of a better way to put it, but we pull out there and you see this very large area. There's a golf course over in that area. You can see behind some of those homes. As you said, this is a very quaint neighborhood. Obviously, who would ever expect this kind of incident to happen in their community? But people are coming home tonight and they're finding that they can't get to their homes because of something like this, something they might see on television, not necessarily in their community. There's an ambulance there. Sky 5 moves a little bit. We don't see anybody getting in and out of it, but we're continuing to watch this situation from above.
You see that banner on the screen right now that sources are telling us a Raleigh police officer is among those shot. So I need to correct myself. I was told that a Raleigh police officer was among those killed, but we do know that a Raleigh police officer is among those shot. So we do not know the condition of that officer at this time. We are working to learn that. We have several crews that are at the hospital, that are at the scene here, obviously in the sky, and we are working to gather as much information as possible, as quickly as possible.
Can we go back to Eric Miller on the ground? Is Eric listening to us right now? Eric, can we get you back up live?
Yeah, Gerald, I got you. Yeah.
Okay, give us an update on, I know this now 6:23 in the evening. More and more people continue to come home to try and get back to their homes in that community. Are you still seeing basically the same thing in that intersection?
We are, Gerald, and I want to spin the camera around here real quick and just give you, excuse me, I've got to move some equipment here real fast, pardon me. Give you an idea, look at this. These are the people who are waiting to get home right now. Literally, the line of cars stretches farther than I can see here along South Hall Road. These folks just sitting in the turn lane, sitting in the right lane of traffic there. Dozens of people who are now stuck waiting, looking at the same scene that we've been looking at here for the last half hour, the last 45 minutes, still have no idea about when they're going to be able to go back into this neighborhood and go back home. Again, that's not something that Raleigh police are releasing right now. They haven't given any times, any details on that. So these folks are really very much in a holding pattern, just sitting here idling in their cars, waiting. We know that there are several people who have been here waiting for half an hour, 45 minutes. Essentially, almost as soon as this scene happened, Raleigh police have been redirecting traffic here. You can see the line of cars moving down South Hall here, none of them able to turn in. And that enormous presence of Wake County EMS, fire, police personnel right up there on South Hall Drive. So again, none of these people able to go home despite the wait, despite the time, despite the distance, again, from where we are to the scene. Everybody's still waiting. Everybody's still waiting for that word, that okay, that all clear.
It is quite a shock to their systems, I'm sure. Eric, stay right there. We'll get back to you a little bit later.
You see one of the fire trucks moving there. Now let's go to photojournalist Chad Flowers, who is live there on the ground as well, as we are seeing from his vantage point. That fire truck leaving, that seems to be a big gathering point, Chad, of where a lot of the first responders are at that fire station 21 on South Hall.
Correct, Deborah. This is the staging area, what appears to be the staging area. If I pull back here, you can see the fire truck is kind of turning around right there, but lots of fire personnel here at Fire Station 21. As you can see, the Raleigh police officers are out with long guns as well. Over beside the fire station, there are 5 ambulances, maybe 6. I can't see around the back, but there's a large contingent of ambulances staged, poised, and ready to go should they be needed. As you can see on up the street here, there's a whole litany of fire personnel, EMS personnel, as well as Raleigh police on scene here in front of my truck. So lots of traffic in this neighborhood. If you're in the South Hall, Skycrest area, stay clear of this area if at all possible, because they're trying to get personnel in and out. They're trying to move people around, and there's lots of cars on the road right now. So EMS, this is their staging area. Fire, EMS, this is where everything is staged for their presence when they are carried down to the scene. As you can see, there's Raleigh police officers directing traffic, trying to clear people out of the way, as well as fire trucks blocking the street. It appears they've now, they're pulling the fire trucks out and they're going to block South Hall here. That's what they're doing. So they're blocking South Hall so that traffic would stop. So as of right now, lots of personnel, lots of people on the scene. EMS is standing by for the call when they're needed. Deborah?
Chad, from what you're able to see and the people that you've been able to talk to, are they still treating this as an active shooting situation?
Yeah, it is. I would say it's still an active shooting situation from this vantage point. You can see the police officers are talking to a car that's pulled up now, but that officer that's moving is pointing his hand right now, has a long gun on his front there. And if you look out and about, there are personnel on the ground that do have long guns out. And like I said, right now they're just trying to get rid of some of this traffic so that they can reroute people and get people out of this neighborhood that don't need to be here.
All right, Chad, thanks so much. We'll check back in with you.
We want to go down to photojournalist Ed Wilson. He is in Sky 5 right now above the scene. Ed, you've got the best vantage point. Tell us what you're seeing from up there.
Well, right now we've moved over to another scene here on Tar Heel Club Road here, where we've got another large police presence here as well. They got long guns here. They got people going into the woods here. I don't know if they think it's a suspect over here, but that's probably what they're thinking at this time. But they got the dogs out as well, so they're searching this area on Tar Heel Club Road. Again, a large police presence here, and they're just trying to find out what happened here and what caused this horrific incident to happen. So we're up in Sky 5, and we'll keep you posted on what we see in here and what's going on out here.
So Ed, since you've been up watching this scene, does it seem as though police are moving locations as perhaps they are tracking a suspect?
Absolutely, Deborah. They moved from the initial scenes and now they're over here on Tar Heel Club Road. So obviously, whoever did this or who they think did it has moved over to this area, and they're searching these woods over here to the left here. So I think they think someone's in the woods here, so they're searching this area with a large presence of police as well.
Can you give us an idea of where the Greenway is from where those officers are right now?
Right now, Deborah, I think the Greenway is
pretty close.
Probably it looks like it's a good ways away from where the actual incident was over there in Hedingham. So I think it's a good ways away, Deborah.
But that is the Neuse River that you just pulled out and showed?
Yeah, the Neuse River is right. It runs right along this area, and there's also other waterways that's in this area too. But we're not far from Nightdale as well.
Ed, when you were over the scene of the actual house or the area where police initially focused their attention, we noticed through your camera that officers didn't seem to be ready. They weren't armed that we could see with long weapons or things like that you might expect. Did you notice the same thing? And obviously here, it's a much different posture.
Well, initially when we got here, Gerald, there was, when we got to the original scene, there was a lot of police officers running around with long guns and handguns when we first got there. But by the time we went on air, they kind of calmed down and wasn't looking with the guns as much. And now they moved over here, and it looked like it's like you said, it's much of a serious and much a posture here that where they're trying to figure out what's happening here.
Ed, have you seen any canine officers trying to track?
Yes, we have seen a couple of canine dogs that they're there. I think they're now in the woods, Deborah. There was a dog out earlier when we first got here on this scene. And now they're moved into the woods here, so we can't really see down there, but they're tracking someone in there.
All right, Ed Wilson up in WRL Sky 5. We appreciate this vantage point and all your information. Thank you so much, Ed. We'll check back in with you.
We want to go down to Chelsea Donovan. She is live at Wake Med. We've told you several people have been shot. She's there to give us an update on what she knows about the injuries. Chelsea?
Yeah, we're here at Wake Med on New Bern Avenue. I want to step out of the way so you can see this scene. We've got a lot of ambulances and police cars lined up. I can tell you just moments ago I learned from the public information officer here that this perimeter is completely secured. We've seen a lot of cop cars, Raleigh police and unmarked cars coming in and out at a rapid pace. We know that there are 3 people being treated inside in that level 1 trauma center. No conditions are available at this time. But again, the hospital perimeter has been secure. I want to let you know, I just got off the phone with someone that lives in that Hedingham neighborhood. She lives on Metacoma Drive, and she says, just about an hour ago, she went outside to walk her dogs, and she says that's when she was hushed inside and pushed inside and told that she was not to come out at this time. And of course, she says she's inside with the doors locked. But just again, here at Wake Med, you can see a lot of activity as they outside of the emergency and trauma center there. We can confirm again, 3 patients are inside. Their conditions are unknown at this time. We'll keep you updated as we learn more about what's going on and who's being treated here.
Chelsea, often when we hear about an officer being shot, there's a large police presence at the hospital to support the family of that officer and the officer, him or herself. So what are you seeing as far as those types of cars there at the emergency room?
We've seen a lot of unmarked cars and a lot of Raleigh cop cars, and you can sort of see those if you're looking to the bushes. They're kind of lined up on the left-hand side, and we've seen a large number of people actually running in and out. So I would imagine they are offering their support. I would imagine a lot of cops are here also to possibly talk to the people that have come with those that are injured or even the injured to try to glean some information as to what they know about this active shooter situation.
All right, Chelsea, thank you. We're going to go back to Sky 5 now. We see canine officers working the perimeter of the woods there. Ed Wilson, if you can hear us, can you get back on with us and just tell us what you have seen over the last few minutes?
Yeah, Gerald, we just seen the canine come out of the woods here, and now they, like you said, they're walking along the wooded area here. You know, not searching, the longest sniff in the air, I guess, trying to figure out if someone's in there. And like I said, it's a large police presence with people with long guns here, ready to figure out what's going on in there. They got the dog out, he's searching, and yeah, that's what we've seen so far, Gerald.
I'm trying to look at those uniforms, Ed, because they don't look like Raleigh police officers necessarily. Can you tell what agency that is that's helping with the search?
I've tried to zoom in as far as I could there, but I don't know if that's their SWAT team setup or is it Wake Sheriff. I'm not sure, Deborah, but yeah, I'm not really sure what the organization this is.
Okay, yeah. I'm assuming there are multiple agencies that are out helping Raleigh police as they scan this area looking for a suspect still considering this an active shooter situation right near the Hedingham neighborhood. This scene, this search has been moving along the Greenway, near the Neuse River Greenway and in this Hedingham neighborhood as police are continuing to try to find a suspect. The Neuse River Greenway trail will give you a lot of different avenues into different neighborhoods, and it's easy to be able to kind of come up in one neighborhood and perhaps be behind the row of houses and be able then to come up another street in another neighborhood. So a suspect may be moving quickly from neighborhood to neighborhood as police are still trying to track down who this person is.
Ed, can you pull that camera out a little bit to give us an idea of the vastness of that wooded area the police are searching right now? You can see it is immense. And we see officers on this one side of the perimeter. And perhaps at the middle of our screen, you can see some other cars lined up there. Ed, do you see any other gathering of officers or canine units from your vantage point?
At this point, Gerald, it's the only one K9 unit that we just saw, and then down the road a little bit further, there are other police officers down here. The trees are blocking us right now, but they got this whole area kind of cordoned off, and they're trying to just keep it secure, just in case someone try to walk out or try to get away from this area.
And it is 6:36 right now. It's going to be dark soon, and that's going to be another hurdle for officers as they search for the person that we believe they're searching for. Okay, that was Ed Wilson there. It's going to be dark soon, and that's going to be a big problem for law enforcement as they continue this operation.
We have multiple streets that are shut down in the Hedingham area, and police are asking people who live in this area and certainly maybe just traveling through to avoid this area. This is WRAL's Eric Miller, live shot right now from South Hall at Eagle Trace. This is the entrance to the Hedingham neighborhood, a neighborhood which has grown up in East Raleigh over the years. It's got a golf course community. It's a very popular community for families, and now we are seeing this incredible police presence and fire trucks now blocking off South Hall Road. Eric, can we go back to you? Can you bring us up to speed with what you've been seeing now over the last few minutes?
Yeah, Deborah, absolutely. And you hit kind of the biggest change that we've seen in the last 10 to 15 minutes really is these fire trucks here. The fact that they now have South Hall Road at Eagle Trace Drive blocked off, shut down, nobody coming in or out if you're not part of law enforcement. As we turn this camera around, you know, we talked about all of the people who are waiting, all of the people who are trying to get home. This line has only gotten bigger, only gotten longer. As we zoom in here, you can see that there are a couple people who are almost double parked here along South Hall, waiting to be able to get back in this neighborhood. listening in as police have been talking to residents and talking to folks out here, officers are telling people, hey, this is nothing personal. This is nothing against, you trying to get back home. This is purely about safety and security. Again, this cordon, this closure, very, very strict. Police keeping people more than a mile away from that crime scene over there in this neighborhood next to the Neuse River and the Neuse River Greenway there. Police continue to turn drivers around. Again, you see somebody's able to leave there, but they're not able to come back home. These officers emphasizing that this is still a very active scene. This is still a developing situation, and they're trying to keep folks safe as other officers, other first responders continue their work.
All right, Eric, we're looking at Sky 5 video on the left side of the screen and your shot on the right side of the screen. Eric, is it, typically in these situations, people will amass around the perimeter as far as they can go, people, onlookers perhaps. Are you getting much of that where you are?
Well, Gerald, not at the moment, simply because, where we are over on the east side of Raleigh, the folks you might have walking around at this time of night, there are folks who are going to be walking their dogs. There are folks who are going to be out and about with their family here at the end of the workday. You don't have a lot of other foot traffic here in this part of the city, so you don't have a lot of people who are going to be passing through who might be, rubbernecking, standing around, asking, looking what's going on. Instead, we really just have those residents, those people who are standing by, waiting for that word to be able to go home. And you look here, we still have Raleigh police rolling through here very, very fast in some instances as they continue their work. And you see one resident right there standing outside of his car. No point in even having it in park. No point in having it in drive at this point, just putting it in park as he waits and watches for answers. That man doing what all of these people are doing here outside of the Hedingham neighborhood, waiting for more information on what exactly has happened here this evening.
Eric, that's quite a line of cars developing now as people really don't know where to go and are just kind of waiting for, hopefully, police to clear this scene. So that's quite a lot of residents who are just kind of in limbo right now as they wait to try to go home.
Have we seen in these types of situations, this could be hours. They may not know that. I mean, it's new to them as well. So this situation could be locked down like this for hours as they search for whoever they are looking for in those woods and try and get a handle on this situation. Let's go back up to Sky 5. Do we still have Ed Wilson with us? Ed, do you still see the canine activity? Has it increased, or have they pulled those dogs back?
I think they've sent the dogs back, Gerald, but we're a little higher now. So I'm gonna give you a relationship to where we are and where Hedingham is. So Hedingham is right here, where the active scene is here. So I guess as the crow flies, they say it's probably about 2 miles away from where the Hedingham is, to where they're looking right now here on Tar Heel Club Road. So I don't see any of the dogs now, but I do still see the police officers with the guns out, just watching the woods here.
And you said you're closer to Nightdale now. Give us an idea. What's that intersection that you are zoomed in on right now?
This is Tar Heel Club, Deborah, and I can't see what the other cross street is at this point, but I know there's a big church right here that's surrounding this area too. So, but I'm not sure what the intersection is. But yeah, it's just a lot of let's see, to get the name of the church here. It looks like it's is that Focus? I can't tell what that name is, Deborah,
okay.
But it's just yeah, it's just the cops are out here just still watching the woods here with the K9s out, and they're just looking to see if anyone comes out. Obviously,
Blocking off any kind of traffic in this area as well.
Absolutely, haven't seen any other cars other than police vehicles out here.
You know, Gerald brought up a great point about it, the sun going down, and we can see people now with some lights starting to come on, and you're showing us another helicopter. Is that a highway patrol helicopter?
That is the HP helicopter here, Deborah. They're out here searching as well, and yeah, that's HP there.
Is that why you had to go up higher in Sky 5?
Yeah, just one of the reasons I would get them the lower vantage so they can scan the woods better.
Let's take a look at this for a little bit. You can see them just hovering, giving them obviously another vantage point for anybody who may come out of those woods, but they are dense. And I've never been to that part of the community. I mentioned I've played on a golf course before, but it's a massive, massive neighborhood with a lot of people tonight in limbo, stuck in their homes or stuck outside trying to get home. A lot of people may have family members they need to get to at home, but they can't move right now. So it's a very serious situation.
Look at that search going on now. The State Highway Patrol up over this heavily wooded area. And what I'm being told is that, Ed, you are right near Old Mill Burney Road and Tar Heel Club Road. So I know exactly where this area is. And certainly this time of night, a lot of people, especially on New Bern Avenue, not too far away from New Bern Avenue you would be, and very busy as people would be coming home this evening. But are you seeing anything more from the State Highway Patrol helicopter, Ed, that gives you any kind of clue about what and where they're looking?
Oh yeah, Deborah, they're just still looking all up and down Mill Burney, all up and down Tar Heel Club Road. You got a lot, like a huge presence out here, probably the largest presence of police I've ever seen since I've been here, and I've been here a long time. And but yeah, they're searching the woods all over the place out here.
That is saying something, Ed. You have been here longer than a minute. We're going to go to Chad Flowers now. He is at the staging area near the fire station there. Chad, what has changed since the last time we talked with you?
So just to give you some perspective, this is the area that Eric Miller is at, just down the street here. He's about 150 yards further down the street than me, and as you can see, the line of cars trying to get into the neighborhood, and the fire department has blocked it off. So I am up the hill at the actual staging area for the police, some of the police officers, and this is at the fire station number 21, Raleigh Fire Department, and this is where all the EMS and fire department are staging for their if they're needed. As of right now, in the last few minutes, these guys right here have been bringing in equipment, placing it in that bags of equipment, placing it in that ambulance 41 right there. Looked like what's commonly referred to as jump bags, and they were bringing the bags up, putting them in this first ambulance right here. As you can see, there's multiple ambulances back there. There's at least 5 ambulances parked here, as well as chiefs, district chiefs, and other personnel. Up the street here, let me pull around and show you that all of South Hall is now blocked off. They have used the fire trucks to block off the roads, and they are completely shutting down this area so that they can get equipment in and out if needed. Earlier, this road was open, and there were lots of people trying to access this area. As you can see, somebody's trying to pull around there now. But right now, everything in this neighborhood is kind of locked down. Now we've got an ambulance moving out. Not sure where they're going, but there's an ambulance and a fire truck right here that are getting ready to move. Some ambulance personnel jumping in the back there. We'll keep an eye on them and see what's happening. But as of right now, kind of a tense scene out here, Deborah and Gerald. There's a lot of personnel